Good morning. This is Ahyashah with another brief AM studies. I'm going to only Gregorian timestamp today, okay? We already know that tomorrow at evening constitutes our new month. So we'll be entering into our 12th month tomorrow evening, which is the last month of our year. So again, I'm just going to timestamp the day Gregorian wise. Today it is February 15th of 2026. Right now it's 10:31 a.m. and that is Central Standard where I'm located, and it's a fine Sunday, cool, gloomy, rainy-ish, beautiful morning. I am in the Epistle of James. I love being in this epistle because for some reason it seems like it always comes on time. And I wanted to share two verses with you, which complete one full thought, but I thought it'd be very nice to share. It always blows my mind every time I read it. So this is chapter 1, verses 19 and 20 of the general epistle of James. And it reads, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." Now, first of all, I apologize. That is my washing machine in the background. Sometimes she gets very loud, okay? So I do apologize about her noise. Anyhow, back to this verse. This is a verse that we have to keep in mind, navigating and maneuvering our person in this day and time. We know that the scriptures have told us in the chambers of gospel when the Lord or Jesus Christ or Yahushua spake to us, telling us that in the latter days that the times in people's hearts would wax worse and worse. They would wax cold. We're going to come against and come up against people who are just mean, just outright mean. They have no moral, no standard, no uprightness, no goodly about them. And this comes about for a lot of reasons, from experiences, from traumas, from the way that they were raised, their environments, so many things that you can take into mind when you deal with people with that type of character, okay? You have to remember that your experience with a person is not based on what you have done to them, okay? Not all the time, all right? And that's just if you know that you're coming correct. But I circle back to say that your experience with a person is not based on you. It's based on where they are psychologically, mentally, where they have evolved or where they have stopped evolving. You have to understand that some people don't recognize who they are as a person. You describe them from your experience, whereas they're not seeing the things that they may be doing to people and can only describe themselves from what they perceive their person to be. And you got to be logical and full of mental and emotional understanding to understand what I'm saying. You hear me? So I circle back to say, when you are dealing with the person, you can't always think that it's something that you have done. Me personally, just getting personal here, I dislike greatly when people think that it's something that they have done off the back. That lets me know that that person has not taken the time out to get themselves together psychologically, and that in some part of them, they are still a victim. So you have to take the time out to understand why it is that you point the finger and the blame at yourself to begin with. Because again, we have to remember it is not always you that have done something. And I'm saying that only if you know that you have come correct, okay? And not thinking that you can mistreat someone or justify your actions. I'm saying if you know that you have came correct, you have to understand that your experience with a person It's not based on what you have done. It's based on where they are psychologically. I'm going to give you a brief example here before we get to breaking down this verse. If you deal with someone, let's say, didn't get enough sleep, and this person, when they don't get enough sleep, they're cranky. They may be hearing things a different way than what they're being spoken, and they're perceiving things around them differently. Now, you coming to this person that's cranky and not fully there mentally, you coming to this person, consulting with them on a normal basis, do you think you're going to get the best or the worst out of that person? You see what I'm saying? So I circle back again to say there are a lot of things that we take into account when considering the types of people that we encounter in this day and time. We are in the year 2026. As common sense as it may be to us, there are a lot of people that lack integrity. You understand? They lack the time that it takes to get your person right psychologically. Some people even just lack the resources and avenues for getting themselves together. So you're going to encounter a lot of coldly waxed people or stiff-necked people, as the scriptures say. But in a worldly sense or in layman's terms, you are going to encounter some really foolish, stupid, ignorant people. You will. And you can't always blame yourself. You have to be able to navigate and maneuver in dealing with these peoples, even sometimes dealing with yourself. But these verses again say, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." You got to understand that there's this worldly saying that you have 2 ears to listen twice as much as you speak. You understand that when you take the time out to actually hear a thing, you process fully what is being said to you. So you're not listening to respond or to react, right? To react to what is being said to you. You are listening to properly respond. You have some people that literally only listen to react. You've already planned out what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, how your face is going to be looking when you say it, how your body language is going to be perceived when you say it. So it's important that you be swift to hear. And also take into account, to any parents that may be out there, you got to take out the time to teach your children to be this way as well. This is how your children stand apart from other foolish children, from other ignorant children. But you got to call it how it is. And yeah, they're kids, but you got some stupid kids, you got some ignorant kids, you got some foolish kids. You do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anybody. You got to teach your kids to live this way as well. You understand? So when you are swiftly hearing, it helps you to be able to properly process what is being said so that you can respond properly. The rest of the verse says slow to speak. And that corresponds with what we were just speaking about. You don't want to be so ready to just blurt something out. You want to have a goodly answer in the proper timing. Okay? You don't just want to be just blurting out and regurgitating everything that comes to mind. And it says slow to wrath. It is important to not be so ready and amped up to go from what the world calls 0 to 100 real quick. That's stupid. That is dumb as heck. You want to be able to maneuver and navigate your person differently. I expressed to you all on the last video that I put up to learn to do something new. Be new, be clean on the inside. We literally in the year 2026. Be a different person. Be a better person. Be the better you. You understand? And I circle back when I was mentioning that we have to also be teaching our children this. I wanna point out that it is important for parents to teach your children properly. Okay? Especially when it comes to navigating their person dealing with other persons. Because as much as you may think or believe that you're doing righteous or doing goodly when it comes to your children, you have to also take into account that even if you've raised your child in a specific way, they're going to go out into the world and experience different things because everyone did not raise their children the same way. So please take into account that it's really important to teach your sons to think. Think. Teach your sons to think. And teach your daughters to not overthink. You understand? Very simple. Verse 20 says again, "For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." That's very simple and plain, okay? When you're upset, you're not thinking right. We all know that. Some people land in jail. Some people get killed. Some people just make very poor decisions that ruin something that they may look back on maybe the next day and like, dang, I shouldn't have did that. We all know that you are not working in your right mind or in the sense of the scriptures, the righteousness of God when you're full of anger or full of wrath. So I wanted to share those verses with you because I couldn't move past them. Every time I'm in this epistle, I seem to get stuck up on those two verses because they are amazing verses, as simple as they are to understand. A lot of us don't take them into consideration when navigating you. So again, try to be a better person, better than what you were even just a second ago. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I'm about to get back to my studying, y'all. Remember, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Never cease prayer, bind and loose, and always live ready. And I'll talk to you all as the Lord wills. Remember, also, keep in mind the law of the Lord as you proactively work to secure yourself in the trust, confidence, faith, and belief of the word of the Most High. That is what constitutes you as obedient or righteous when you're doing what the Lord tells you to do. Not when you're trying to justify yourself through the workings of your own man or woman through the law of the Lord. Bye.